All right, guys, welcome back to the David Huff podcast, episode 172. And today's podcast is going to kind of be cool because it's going to be a story about how I got scammed, how you can avoid getting scammed, and the six business lessons I learned from this scam that cost me $1,700, and also the 5 spiritual lessons that I pulled away from it. And I'll just kind of, I guess the process of this podcast is gonna be twofold. It's gonna be me telling you the story, and then I want you, as you're listening to the story, to find out if you can pick up on what the business lessons are going to be easier to pull away from, what the business lessons were here. But then I'm going to go deeper, and I'm going to explain, after I explain all the business lessons, I'm going to explain all the spiritual lessons, which I think are probably even more important than business lessons, even though the business lessons are like really, really great. And this guy that scammed me was like a master. And while I'm pissed that he got $1,720 from me, at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, that was like a great school to go to. And it's really helped me reframe how I'm positioning the offers out at Lungo Vita in my businesses, and also with my other 2 clients as well, my other 2 business clients. So here, let's get into it. So I'm at Golf Town getting fitted for some new clubs. Just spent $2,000 on new clubs. And so I'm pulling out of the parking lot. I'm getting in my car. And this guy pulls up next to me in this really nice BMW. And he says, "Hey, man, do you want to buy a projector?" And he's like, "It's golf simulator ready." And like, I kind of have this idea that I want to build a golf simulator at some point, but not really anytime soon. And I'm like, not really. I said, like, "How much do you want for it?" He said, "Well, I'll take whatever." He's like, "My boss ordered these things and he got too many, and I'm trying to sell them before I have to go back to Chatham," he's like, "I'm not even from here. I have to get out of here." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Just take a look at them." I'm like, "Okay." So he goes back into the trunk of this BMW and he opens up and he's got all these boxes. There's a projector, a screen, and a surround sound system. And he says, "My boss was supposed to get 1. They ended up giving him 3. I'm just trying to sell the other 2 before I bring it back to my boss." He's like, "This is my boss's car. He's rich." He's like, "He doesn't need any more money." And like, he had this whole thing, like, clean looking guy, like, nice car, fresh, nice haircut, like no warning signs that this is a scam. The script that he's using is like perfect. And so I go, I don't know. He's like, these projectors at Best Buy, they're like $8,000. He's like, "You can scan the box, like just scan the barcode." So I go up to the barcode, I scan it, pulls up the price. The value of this thing is $8,000. Do it to the surround sound system. Value is like $2,300. He's like, I'll give it all to you. He's like, "Make me an offer." And I'm like, "Well, I got $700 on me. I'll give you $700. He's like, "Oh, no, that's not enough." He's like, "I need more." And I'm like, "Yeah, but," I'm like, you're in a hurry. You can't sell these." He's like, "It doesn't matter. I'll be able to get someone to give me $2,000. I said, "Okay." So I went to the bank, get this guy another $1,000. And this is like, actually, as I'm saying this story, this is a very embarrassing story for me to share here on the podcast. But, I don't want to always just be sharing like all the good stuff that's going on. Like, this is something that was really bad that happened to me and really effed up my day. And, but I thought there was just so much good that came from it, and I wanted to share it here on the podcast. So I don't want to hide the bad stuff that's happened to me as well. And this is like pushing a big button in me of like being stupid, essentially. And this guy pushed it really well. Anyways, I go. He's like, he pulls out $2,000. He's like, "Look at, man, I just sold another one to this other guy. He paid $2,000. I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." And so anyways, I end up going out, getting the money, get the stuff. And the scam was that the stuff in the boxes was the projector and the surround sound, but he had printed the boxes, which is like kind of ingenious. Like, I mean, the effort that you got to go through to print boxes, package this stuff, it's kind of amazing. And so when you scanned the box, it took you to a website that was like a website that they created. Right? So you go to this website and it looks like it's like this legit website where you can see the value of all of this. And the more I tell this story, the more I realize that how far-fetched it was. But regardless, you got to remember, it's like I'm pulling out of a parking lot. It's cold out. He's trying to make this deal, all the things. And so I'm like, anyways, I gave the guy the money. And I realized that it's all a scam. And I basically lost 17, like pretty much all the stuff is garbage. The projector might be worth $200, maybe. The surround sound might be worth $150, but it's not Bluetooth like he said it was. All the stuff that said on the box. The screen, he said, was motorized. It wasn't. I just got scammed. It's like, just to chalk it all up. But to go into line with the business lessons, I'm like, okay, what did this guy do really, really well? Because he got $1,700 out of me in a parking lot. And I'm like, this guy's like a genius. It's probably why he's driving a BMW. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the first thing he did? The first thing he did is he created perceived value. He showed me through the scanning of this thing that the value of this projector was $8,000. The value of the sound system was $2,300. So he creates a perceived value of $11,000 and says, you can have it for $2,000, right? And so that goes to the second one. He creates perceived value. The second thing is he made an offer so good that you couldn't say no. The offer was so good. It was like, you're getting such an amazing deal that you can't say no to it. You feel like you can't say no to it, which is like an amazing tool in selling. The third thing he did was legitimacy. He's clean cut, normal looking dude, dressed well, driving a BMW. So automatically the mind goes, this guy is not some fraud, whatever. If he would have pulled up in some rusty old van, I probably would have been questioning it a lot more. But because he's in a BMW, I'm like, okay, like this guy's probably legit. The fourth thing he did was he created proof. He pulled out $2,000 in cash and said, look, I just sold another one to this other guy. So he's showing me that other people are buying it as well. He had scarcity. He only had 3 of them in his trunk. He's like, and once these 3 go, there's no more. You're not going to get the deal. There's FOMO in there too, which maybe is a seventh one. There was urgency. That's the 6th one. And so this guy put this all together and he executed it flawlessly. Like it was just a masterclass in sales. And if he would ever to apply himself into selling actual stuff, he'd probably be insanely successful, and he wouldn't have to worry about me running into him in the parking lot at some point in his life and beating the shit out of him, which I would do. But I just thought, like, wow, like what a masterclass. Like what a masterclass that I just went to. And even though it was a scam, it was still a masterclass. And so I just, how I'm applying this into my business. And one of the realizations that I made with respect to Lungo Vita, even though it is this amazing place with this amazing, all these amazing offers and all this amazing amenities, I recognize that our offer, the way we're positioning it, is not great. Like right now, the way we're positioning it is, hey, come to Lungo Vita. We have these amazing accommodations. And when you come to their accommodations, you have all of these amazing amenities. But I'm recognizing, and this is something that we were already onto, but I'm recognizing that we had it backwards, right? I'm recognizing that, sorry, I just got to turn the gain down here. Just recognize I'm maxing out. I'm recognizing that the way I'm positioning that offer isn't an offer that's so good that you can't say no to, the same way this guy presented it. And so after doing that, I'm like, okay, how can I reposition the Lungo Vita offer? Not scamming, right? But really helping people see the value that they're getting when they come out to Lungo Vita. And basically what I ended up doing was saying, okay, if we look at like a Nordic spa or a Scandinavian spa, what are they charging? They're charging around $105 for 3 hours. Our day pass at Lungo Vita currently is only $59, but we are going to be going up to $79. So let's just go with $79. Our day pass is $79 and you can come for 12 hours. Not to mention that these Scandinavian spas and Nordic spas, they're usually like on like a little piece of property, like 1 or 2 acres. Lungo Vita is 16 acres on the water. We're in the heart of wine country. We have bikes, we have kayaks, we have sauna, cold plunge, all the stuff that you would find at a Scandinavian spa. But we also have massage chairs. We have a huge property that you can like explore and relax on. You can go down to the beach. You can bike. We're in, like I say, we're in the heart of wine country. We have all of these add-ons that make our value so much more. And what I realized was, instead of trying to sell a dome with amenities, what I need to be doing is selling the spa and showing people the value of our spa. So if you look at a Scandinavian spa, $105 for 3 hours, you've put that into an hourly price, it's $35 an hour. If you come to Lungo Vita for 12 hours, you spend the whole day out there, 9 till 9, that's $420 in value. Add the bikes. How much does it cost to rent a bike for the day and bike around to wineries? Probably $50. Add the kayaks, $30. Add a yoga class, which is another thing I forgot to mention. We have that. You got like a $500 value that you're getting for $79. And then to top it off, and this is the positioning part, that if you stay the night, which only costs an extra $50, those day passes, all those amenities, all that stuff's all included, right? And now we have created an offer that is so good that people can't refuse. Now it's not a scam. It's not It's not illegitimate. It's legitimate, true value. It's real, true value that we're offering. And then that's not even to talk about the value. And this is other stuff that I'm going to do is I'm going to articulate the values that are very hard to put a price on. Like if you're stressed out to the max and you come out to Lungo Vita for a day or 2 days and you leave feeling relaxed and recharged and you have more clarity, what's that worth? Well, it's priceless. So then I can create perceived value, but it's not even perceived. It's real value. I can show the real value and compare that against, okay, well, you're stressed to the max. You come out to Lungo Vita, you spend, $200 to stay the night and you're not stressed out anymore. What's the value of that? It's like, well, it's priceless. And it just made me get real clear that my offer wasn't good enough. I guess if that's what I basically want to come down to. The second thing is that everybody loves a deal. And if you can show that your offering is an amazing deal, which I believe Lungo Vita is a steal. I think it's a steal to come out there and spend a few nights to unplug. And that's, I think, the challenge that we do have out there is a lot of people don't even really realize what they're getting when they come to Lungo Vita. They don't even really realize that unplugging, that is gaining a lot more traction. Like people are starting to want to be off social media, off devices, off a screen in their face. That's getting more traction. And so people, I think that value that will be more understood soon. But people don't really, when they sign up for Lungo Vita, I think they're probably thinking, oh, this looks cool. It'll make some cool Instagram photos. My friend told me about it. But when they get out there, the reason that we become so successful and we have so many repeat customers is because they experience the peace that exists in the present moment. They're removed from all that. They reconnect to nature. They reconnect with the person that they came to. They go through detox by going through our spa cycle, going into the sauna, going into the hot tub, going to the pool, maybe into the lake in the winter, whatever it may be. And that's the true value of Lungo Vita. That's the true value that exists, but it's very hard to articulate. But that's what people get when they get there. And what I've now realized is I just have to position it properly. And I got that realization from getting scammed. The other thing that guy did great was scarcity. And we have scarcity built into Lungo Vita a little bit because we only have so many spots available. We only have so many weekends available. Now, it's not scarcity like this guy created, and urgency like this guy created, which was like, if you don't buy right now, this deal is gone. I don't want to fake that. I don't ever want to do that to fake it. But there is something to be said for, hey, we're doing this discount and it's only for this period of time, which would entice people to buy. Proof. And that would be another thing. It's like, we have done a good job of putting proof onto our website, but I think we could do a better job. I think we could put reviews into our ad copy. I think we could put more reviews onto our website, which is just to show people that, hey, people are actually booking this thing, right? So it's proof. And then the legitimacy thing, I think, is another piece. And that is kind of like what helps with the proof. Like he did the legitimacy with the BMW. How could Lungo Vita create legitimacy? I mean, even something as simple as like, celebrating 5 years in business would be something that would help, like a stamp on the website or on our social media ads. But I think I guess the takeaway I want to have here is that even though this was a terrible thing and it really messed up my day, it's still kind of messing up my day today. This happened to me yesterday. There's always a lesson to be learned, right? And you can view it as you got scammed and you lost $1,720, or you can pull away the lessons and take them and make yourself better. And already I know that I'm going to do more sales because I got scammed for $1,720. Let's shift now to the spiritual lessons. And these, I think, are more profound. The first, after I paid the guy, I'm driving. I was actually driving out to Lungo Vita, and it's like a 40-minute drive. So I'm driving in. In the first 2 or 3 minutes of that drive, I instantly was like full of regret. I was like, I should not have done that. And because it goes against my number one principle of spiritual growth, which is integrity. This is like where my spiritual journey kind of began, was with integrity. It was like, don't tell any lies. But the thing that most people miss when it comes to integrity is that there are all these different levels and layers of integrity. And this was one of those layers. The layer of integrity is the nod of approval. This guy was, if the story was true, which it wasn't, but this guy was ripping off his boss, was ripping off the company that he got these projectors from. And I gave the nod of approval by supporting this ripoff because it was such a great deal. And so he pushed the button in me of, you can get here. You're getting a good deal. You could sell these things and get more money. And I was unconscious of how the ego just took charge. I didn't have the conscious awareness to step back and go, this is out of integrity, because the ego was so big and so loud in that moment and pushing the button in me that obviously is still in me, which is you need to get ahead, you need to get more, you need to make money. And it just took over. And I wasn't aware of it until about 3 minutes driving down the road. All I needed was an extra 3 minutes. I would have saved myself $1,720. I'm driving down the road and I was like, that was out of integrity and I should have not done that. And then in that instant, I was like, this is going to fuck me up karmically. So that's the second one, is like, I stepped out of integrity, which, man, ever since I made the realization that I have to live a life of integrity. I can't tell lies. I can't cheat. I can't steal. I can't give the nod of approval. Every single time I step out of integrity, I watch it come back and bite me in the ass so hard. And you would think that I would learn the lesson, but it's like, that's the power of the ego. That's the will to survive, because that's what the ego essentially is saying, right? It's like, I need to survive. I need to get ahead so I can survive. And that's how powerful it is. And if you don't have the ability to step back, if you're not in awareness, if you can't take that step back so you can observe the ego doing it, then you get out of alignment with who you truly are, which is supposed to be integrous. And you can't step out of like missing this karmic consequence. Now, as I'm driving away, I'm like, this is what I said to myself. I'm like, I said, and this is all unconscious, but now reflecting back, I'm like, I actually hope that this is a scam. Because if it is a scam, I am going to experience immediate karma. If it's not a scam, I don't know when that karma is going to come and get me, right? Because I essentially went along with, gave the nod of approval of fucking over this company, fucking over this guy's boss by buying this thing. And when I finally got home and unpacked all the boxes, there was a sense of relief of like, oh, I already experienced the karma consequence because I'm out $1,720. And now that is cleared from my karmic scale. And I can just kind of go about my life and not have to worry about when this karma is going to catch up. But this is something that I have just been paying so much attention to. And now that I'm aware of how karma actually works, it's like, man, the consequences I experience when I do something wrong, it's not like they're inflated. It's just that I'm so much more aware of them. This used to be happening to me all the time when I was doing bad shit, but I just wasn't picking up on it. But now that I'm aware of it, I just see it like, it just, like if I were to like wrong you in some way, it would come back to me tenfold. And that's why I'm like, I want to live a life of integrity, because I know that this karmic consequence is going to come back and it's going to bite me 10 times harder. And I want to avoid that at all costs. This is part of the reason why, I'm veg, is because I don't want the karma of killing other animals. And I'm not here to take position about it, but it's like, I want to try and do as little harm as I possibly can while on this planet, because of the karmic spiritual consequences that you take on to the next life. And I'm trying to clear myself as many of those as I can. So the first two lessons that I learned spiritually, integrity, there's layers. And if you're not careful, you can get trapped in it. Now, the other thing I want to say about this is that I can see how people get wrapped up, in being bought, being scammed, because there's so much emotional charge there. They're speaking right to your ego. And if you're not careful, you can get sucked in. And I can see how people make bad decisions in a split second that haunt them for the rest of their lives. They take money from a terrorist organization, and they have a gut instinct that they're not supposed to do it, but they still do it because it's going to get them ahead. And I'm talking about $1,720. Imagine if there's millions on the table. You could see how easily someone could allow the ego just to take charge and not even be aware of it until it was too late. And that's essentially what happened to me here. And I'm thankful that was only $1,720. And I'm recognizing, and this is one of the things that I've really been trying to clear lately, is that one of the blocks to me bringing abundant wealth into my life is that unconsciously, not unconsciously, I'm conscious of it, but there is an awareness that if I do get all of this wealth, what am I going to do? Am I going to fuck up? Am I going to step out of integrity? Like that's a slight worry. And all of this came up recently. The reason I experienced this whole entire thing is because I recently asked God, to me it's God. I recently asked God, I said like, hey, like what is it that I'm still holding on to? Because I was in a really good place. I was like really flowing. I was feeling good about life, and Lungo Vita was making lots of money, and I felt like I was in a good spot with my wife, and everything was really flowing. And I said to God, I was like, hey, show me what else I'm still holding on to. And like literally, like I think I did that like on Saturday, and this happened to me on Monday. So it's like instantly, it's like you're still willing to step out of integrity if money's on the line, which I did. And then the third one is my third spiritual lesson is people pleasing. As I'm driving away, so I meet this guy in the parking lot. I hadn't given him the $720. I still had it in my pocket. I'm like, let's drive to the bank. I'll get the other $1,000. So I drive to the bank, and as I'm driving to the bank, I get this hit of I shouldn't do this, right? Like it's a strong intuition. And in fact, I thought of even calling my wife, and then I was like, no, if I call her, she's going to tell me not to do it. And so then I didn't call her, which is kind of even another little bit hit of integrity, of kind of stepping out of integrity. Actually, it's kind of like lying by omission in some ways. I feel this hit, but then instantly the people pleaser in me resurfaced again. The one that I thought I had killed, right? And who is this fucking guy? He's nobody. He's a fucking nobody. But because I kind of shook his hand already and made this deal, I didn't want to disappoint this con artist. Oh, God, this is a fucking embarrassing podcast to do. But anyways, it's like recognizing that people pleaser is still in me. All I had to do was drive up beside this guy and be like, hey, man, I changed my mind. But the people pleaser in me wouldn't allow me to do that. And it ended up costing me $1,720. And all of this pushed a button in me, and that's kind of the fourth lesson is what happened to me after I went through this, scam, is all the emotions that surfaced. And this was a great opportunity. And when you experience any emotional triggers, it's a great opportunity to lean into the pain that you're still avoiding unconsciously, right? And the button that this guy pushed in me was that you're stupid. And the feeling of being stupid, I wanted to resist with every single thing that I had. And that's the fifth lesson, is the resistances that showed up out of trying to not feel stupid. And what were they? They were venting. I was talking to my wife about the situation. I was talking to my employees about the situation. I was at the gym this morning, and I felt the urge to tell my trainer about what happened to me. And I'm like, no, this is just a way to avoid feeling, because what do they do? What do your friends and family do when you tell them about how you got screwed over, when you tell them about how you got hurt? They try and make you feel better, and it works. They pull you out of the emotion you're trying to feel. And so I recognized when I was at the gym this morning, the wanting to tell my trainer about the story, but recognizing that was just me trying to avoid the pain of being stupid. And this morning, then, I gave myself the opportunity to lean into the pain of how stupid I am and what it feels like to be stupid. And now consciously, I don't believe I'm stupid, but the reason I'm so angry, the reason I'm venting to other people, the reason I'm trying to justify it by even doing this podcast in some ways is a justification of, how I got had. I built this guy up to be like a pretty slick guy, right? And in some ways, I'm like, that's a justification to how he got me. But all of this is a tool. It's a resistance to actually feeling the pain of being stupid. And that was mine. There's also maybe like a scarcity thing in there, like another button in me, which is the money button. It's like, you just lost $1,720 and you don't think that money's going to come back into your life. And, I even caught myself saying, if you would have invested that $1,720, like 20 years from now, what it would be worth. And like this, like I'm just on and on and on. And I just watched my mind pretty much for the entirety of the day yesterday, just play out scenario after scenario after scenario, trying to make me feel better. And it wasn't until I finally said, hey, I'm done. Like, I don't want to feel any better. I want to feel the pain that's associated with this trigger. I want to feel stupid is what it was for me. This is when I looked in. And then when I leaned into the pain, it was like I sat in the stupid. Tightness in the center of the chest, pit in the stomach, and in order to get there, actually, I skipped one part. In order to get there, I had to go through the rage. I wanted to track this guy down and kill him. Like that was the ego. Like you exposed me for being stupid. You're going to fucking die now. That's the way I felt. Like I literally felt that. And I also recognized when I recognized that I was in anger, that the ego didn't want to let that anger go. The ego was like, no, we're staying this angry. Like, this is what we're doing. This is how we're not going to experience the pain of being stupid. We're going to go and find this guy and kill him. And it's like, and I was like, and I just like scenario after scenario playing out on how I'm going to find this guy and kill him, and it's like, holy Jesus, like the mind is working tirelessly to not allow me to feel a little bit of pain. So then when I lean into the pain, when I lean into what it actually feels like to be had, to be taken advantage of, to be a target, to even to be a guy that looks like you could scam. All of that hurt. It hurt. And I just sat in that hurt. And after I sat in that hurt, the noise of the mind reduced. And as it reduced, I began to experience less stress. I checked my Oura ring yesterday after going through all of this, and I experienced 30 minutes of stress in the entire day. And I'm like, okay, all right, like there's positives here. Like there's some good that came out of this. And now I couldn't start seeing all of that until I actually dealt with the hurt that was caused by this whole experience. And I'm grateful for it. So the absolute truth. It's like, no, I don't want to get scammed again. And it's probably never going to happen again, but I shouldn't say that because it probably will. But the lesson I've learned here is that I have to take a step back and observe. I have to take that step back. And if I don't take that step back and observe and pay attention to what's really going on, and like recognizing that money button, it's like, oh man, people are so good at pushing that. And it's like, I'm so weak to it. Anytime someone pushes that money button in me, because the way I saw it was like, I'm getting this great value. I might sell this stuff and make some money. I might make a couple grand. Like you just push the money button in me. I got blinded to what was really going on, and I got taken advantage of. It made me feel stupid. And yeah, that's everything I learned. But I'm okay with it. And now what I've been doing is, after I've dealt with the pain, after I let the anger go so I could get to the pain, every time it comes into my awareness, every time I catch myself thinking about it, I just say, nope, I'm not allowing it anymore, right? There's no more figuring it out. There's no more justification. There's no more trying to track this guy down. I'm just done. And so I just push it out of my mind because I've done the work. Now, if I did that before I did all of this, that would be suppression, right? That would just be trying to avoid it. But because I sat in the pain of being stupid, I sat in the anger and let that anger run its course. Now I'm okay with the mind trying to chime in, being like, oh, this. No, I'm fine. You don't have to protect me. I'm good. Right? I don't need to go find this guy and kill him. In fact, if he saw the need to steal money from me, he probably really believes that he needed it. And $1,720 isn't gonna kill me. It doesn't feel great, but I'm okay in that pain. And that's why I think I was able to only experience 30 minutes of stress, because I was able to walk through this process. And this is how you kind of apply these spiritual concepts into your life. And I hope that story helped you. I hope I didn't ramble too long. Kind of like a vulnerable thing for me to expose my lack of integrity, which I feel like I'm really good at most of the time, but there it is. It showed up. Exposed the weak ass little bitch people pleaser, to expose that I'm stupid. But then also to recognize that this was a gift for me to heal at a deeper level. And because of that, I'm grateful for it. And hopefully the story and everything served you. Hopefully it also prevents you from getting scammed. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for taking the time to listen. If you got any value whatsoever, just hit that subscribe button. And don't forget, I'm still looking for people that want to come on the podcast and be coached live. Like if you got an issue, if you got a problem, if there's been a broken record, there's been a thing in your life that you haven't been able to solve, sometimes just sitting across from somebody else and talking about it out loud with the intention to heal, the answers begin to flow into your life. And that's what I want to show people on the podcast. So if you are willing to do that, or if you just have a question, drop it in the comments below. I'll make some content about it, or make a podcast about it, or have you on. That's where I'm going with this thing. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next Tuesday. Shouldn't say that.